Hello and welcome to Stop Now. I am going to say that like the daily show with JK, but this is not a daily show. This is a weekend talk show in Stop Now. And you all know that like we have an experimental lab uh, handled by me. It's a daily show, weekdays, Monday to Friday. We do it at 11 to 11:30. You all can watch that as well and just self-promoting it. And today I'm going to be the host for this talk show since Nate is busy with his work. And I'm joined by Amar. Again, Amar, welcome back. You are not the guest this time. You are the co-host and you are going to help me out drive through today's talk show.
Yeah, Isaac, good morning. Yeah, as there is no guest, we should continue the weekly meeting as we are doing this last few months.
Yes,
Right.
of course, right? So this is not our daily show, so we don't have to follow the same format. And also in talk shows, like we have been doing different things, and we have been inviting guests, experts, talking on human
Right.
trafficking, sex trafficking, labor trafficking, domestic violence, abuse, all those topics that can be addressed. And some
Yeah.
interesting stories as well came up, and few of the victims who wanted like to join our show and talk about their experience and their journey. So we will work on that and we'll bring those things. But before that,
Yeah.
like to our audience, we also launched a happiness right view lab. Sorry, I'm going blank. With Beta and Yuchi, our guests, like with whom we have really had a good time working with them and helping them like to launch their channel and also
Mhm.
promote that. And why I wanted to talk about that is like uh, we are in pursuit of happiness, right? So everything that we do has
Right.
to lead to happiness in life. And mostly people who go through trauma and who have suffered a lot in human trafficking and all, they need to find some meaning and purpose in life. So that's why like we wanted to support them, though it's not a therapy, but still it can help some people who have been a victim to listen to those things as a uh, good recovery. And also I would help in any possible way to the victims, like to overcome those traumas. So that's why like I thought like one of our happiness lab that they conduct, like they conduct different meetups with different group of people, and we will listen to those recorded audios or videos. That was
Yeah,
my.
maybe one day Bita and Shusi joined with us in our talk show, right? They talked in our talk show. You invited
Yes,
them.
yes.
Yeah.
We invited them like to our talk show, and
Mhm.
mainly you reminded me that, right? So we last year, right, when we talked about different religions and also how religions are exploiting, and that leads them like to become a victim. Not one particular religion, right? All the religions, right? And that is why like we wanted to talk to Buddhist. Right? For me, from my standpoint, Buddhism is not a religion. It was like kind of Buddha itself is against those dogmas at the time, and he was, for me, he is like an atheist. But then people, they followed him and made him as a god, and Buddhism became a religion as such. So any practice that you try to do like with large number of people, that becomes a cult, and then organized religion, various things comes into play. The same thing happens in different kind of practices and different religions as well. and how those things, religion and spirituality, in the name of spirituality, people are being exploited, and how people become vulnerable and they are exploited, and child abuse and sex trafficking happens in the name of religion as well. So that's why, like, I am kind of against those things, and I wanted to invite them, like, to address those issues and ask them tough questions. But they were all like so nice people, I couldn't uh, make something out of it. So we built a good relationship and we talked a lot, and I went to their meetups. That's all. Like, even as a follow-up this year, like when they reached out, I said, like, we will have another talk show in our stop now. So that's how, like, we ended up doing that again. And basically they just asked us, like, okay, then how do we work together, right? So if you want us to help the victims or any other people who need help from us, connect with us, we will do that. And then we thought of that, right? So why can't we uh, do this and promote it as a YouTube channel? And whatever work they are doing, it's a good work, right? Anyone who is trying to do good work, we are trying to partner with them and work with everybody else, like, together. So that is the whole idea of our Stopna Foundation. Again, let's go over and play this 15-20 minutes video from Yuji about happiness, true happiness, and then probably we can talk about it.
Yeah, I watched some of them videos. Really, they are doing good and they are providing lots of helpful information for humans, right?
Yeah, absolutely, right. So it is kind of a very pleasant way to listen to them and also understand what they are trying to say, how it makes sense, and also how you can find meaning and purpose in life and all those things, right? Let's watch and then we'll talk.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Welcome everyone. Happy Saturday. Let's talk about happiness. Buddha taught, if you want to be happier, practice act of kindness, plant seeds of happiness. And last week, I talked about the importance of practicing kindness from the bottom of our heart when the time comes. That was last week's topic. Yeah, our ultimate goal is enlightenment, or ultimate form of mindfulness, equanimity, true peace of mind, and satisfaction. This kind of authentic happiness is possible in this lifetime. When it happens, it doesn't take time. But until our mind will be ready, there is a certain journey. Yeah. So in our day-to-day lives, we are encouraged to practice good deed. And also listening to Dharma is a very important practice. It's like the two wheels of a car. Both are important. While listening to Dharma, we practice 6 parameters. Yeah, so there are 6 kinds of good deeds that Buddha taught, but giving is the easier one. Yeah, kindness or compassion. So that's why in our happiness lab, we always talk about kindness and compassion. And when we practice compassion, kindness, we will end up practicing all the other 5. So we will practice all the 6 kinds of good deed. So practicing act of kindness is a gateway on our spiritual journey. So I emphasized this last week, and we had a question, very good question. yeah, when we want to practice kindness, when we are very eager to practice compassion, sometimes we miss the chance, and then later we regret. It's kind of difficult to seize the opportunity and practice kindness from the bottom of our heart, even sacrificing ourselves. Especially when we ourselves in a difficult situation, financially or time-wise or physically, we have difficulty in practicing acts of kindness when we are really tired, or when we are pressed with time, or when we don't have much material stuff. It's very difficult to practice kindness. Or sometimes other desire become a hindrance for us to practice kindness. In a sense, we haven't put our 100% trust in Buddha's teaching. We are filled with so much desire for our sake. So in this sense too, practicing kindness is not so easy. And then the question was like this. She encountered with a person, unhoused person, and this person was looked so much trouble. He or she looked in dire poverty. She needs help, or he, but she couldn't give him or her anything, and she missed the opportunity. And later she regretted, or she had sense of guilt. What can we do with such sense of guilt? I think that was her question. And yes, last week, we didn't have enough time. We only had 5 minutes or so. So I just gave a very brief answer, but my answer might have has some misunderstanding among the participants. So I wanted to clarify this and a little go deeper today regarding this question. So I didn't say this, but I should have said this in the first place. Having this sense of guilt is very important, and it's very honorable as a spiritual person. Yeah, only spiritual people have that kind of sense of guilt. It reminded me of one episode which I heard from a Japanese actor. This Japanese actor is now very famous, and he's very passionate in social welfare activity. He already built 50 schools in developing countries in Asia, and he became a foster parent of 152 people, children from Vietnam. There's a certain connection between Vietnam and Japan, so he became foster parent of so many Vietnamese children. And once he confessed in an interview, when he was in his 20s, he visited a hospital. In this hospital, there were so many seriously sick people, and most of them had a lot of blisters on their palms because of their illness. And when they pressed the blister, a lot of yellow pus came out. So after giving performance at the hospital, he went around the beds and tried to shake hands with the patient. But upon seeing those blisters on patient's pus, in his mind, he felt a lot of hesitation. Should I shake hands with him or not? Or with other patient, he was not hesitant to hug the patient, but those patients, he had a lot of hesitation. But anyway, yeah, he shook hand and hugged them. And then after a while, he found he was wearing white suit, pure white suit, but there were so many yellow stains everywhere, and also on his palm. And then he went to the bathroom and tried to wash hands and tried to remove the stain. Yeah, that was very natural behavior. But at that very moment, something came to his mind. Oh, I'm trying to wash those stains all alone. He was trying to wash those stains away. And he realized his kind of negative mindset, which he couldn't reveal in front of those patients. Am I explaining? Does it make sense? Yeah, I cannot explain very well in English. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, and then after this incident, he became more and more passionate in this activity. So he's now in his 70s, I believe. But for the past 50 years, he didn't forget this incident. So I think this was the trigger, not only our physical action or speeches. We try to purify our mind. Having such dirty mind is not acceptable when we trying to practice authentic act of giving. So this is what all the great Buddhist masters did in their practice. The more we see that mind, we want to practice more. One Buddhist master who was active in Japan, snake and scorpion. When we see a snake, what do we feel? we feel disgusted, and we feel dreadful. So this master also sees such mind in himself. That's why he became more enthusiastic in Buddhist training. The actor also confessed what motivated him to start such social welfare activity. It was his mother's teaching. When he was little, his house was so poor. The household was in dire poverty. In such a circumstance, his mother was helping other people, maybe giving money or food to people who are poorer. Yeah. So his mother didn't care about their own food. Of course, mother wanted to feed her children, but she put priority to other people. That was really mind-boggling from today's standard. In the past, people were practicing such unconditional kindness more and more. People are poorer, much poorer than today. Yeah, I remember when I was very little, our house was also poor. One time we didn't have enough side dish. Our main food was rice, but we didn't have any side dish. What shall we eat, mother? We only have rice. And mother said, have apple. So let's pour soy sauce and We can eat rice with soy sauce and apple. Yeah, it happened many times. Yeah. So, yeah, still people practice passion and act of kindness. So having this, going back to the sense of guilt, this is the motivation for us to practice more kindness. Let me mention one quote from the film Wizard of Oz. I haven't watched this yet, actually, but it's very popular, right? Let me share one screen. There's a character which is called the Tin Woodsman. Woodsman. And he was made of tin, so he didn't have heart. And he said this: you people with hearts have something to guide you and need never do wrong. But I have no heart, and so I must be very careful. So this means he knew very well he had no heart, and therefore he took great care never to be cruel or unkind to anything. Yeah, somebody mentioned this to me, so it's struck a chord with me. So Tin Woodman said he didn't have heart, but actually, I think he had heart. But this awareness is important. Oh, I have kind of self-centeredness. I need to practice authentic kindness, and then we can go forward more and more. Once we think, I'm perfect, I'm very kind, I'm very compassionate, then our self-improvement will stop. So, yeah, last week I didn't explain enough, but this is something very important in our spiritual journey. So, yeah, great master of Buddhism in Japan, whose name Shinran, said, it's like a venomous snake or scorpion. In other words, poison in our good deed. So we try to purify our good deed. Yeah, somebody mentioned we need to forget about our expectation when we practice good deed. Especially when we do charity, offer to charity or do good deed, some people might criticize us. Like I mentioned, it's like self-advertisement, or you're doing this for your own sake. Actually, to some extent, that's true. I don't deny that, because we have desire for recognition. We want to be praised. This desire is very deep-rooted and deep-seated. Everybody has this. So when we practice kindness, of course, this desire must be working a little bit. Yeah. I don't say there is no such desire, because when we are praised, we feel good. When we are praised, we don't say out loud, but we will smile a bit, right? When we are praised. That's how we feel joyful when we are praised, when our desire, it's our desire being fulfilled. This is human nature. But this is also poison and the snake and the scorpion. So we try to minimize it. That's our practice. With this effort, we can go forward on our spiritual journey. At the end of my talk, let me share our spiritual journey. Yeah, when we started listening to Buddhism, we were here. And then we have a clear goal here. Happiness that doesn't abandon us through peace of mind, lasting satisfaction through equanimity. In one word, it's enlightenment. And enlightenment in Buddhism is always depicted or compared to a lotus flower. Yeah. So when it happens, it doesn't take time, but there is a certain journey until our mind is ready. So on this spiritual journey, we need to cultivate our mind. Yeah, cultivate our mind. Our mind is not ready. Our mind is full of wrong view, wrong assumption, and fallacies. Yeah. So by practicing good deed, we will cultivate our mind. So that's why mind is important. So yeah, it's out anytime, anywhere. When we make effort, when you make a decision, I'm gonna make other people happy. That's the happiness switch. Okay, so share more, but I make a brief stop here, and let's have quick discussion or Q&A.
Well, that was Yuji's excellent presentation on happiness, to find true happiness, and he was talking about what do we call, like practice kindness, and how you have to have that sense of guilt and all those things. So that is something like very deeper, like for us to understand. And also only by doing some regular practice, we will be able to get those things, because human nature itself is like kind of wandering, like from good and bad. So we are all swinging in it, right? So unless we have that balance and practice things regularly, it is tough to show sympathy and empathy towards everyone and being kind to everyone. So that's all I got from it. And again, Amar, you can share your thoughts before we wrap up today's talk show.
Of course, as a human being, we should obey some rules and resolution and apply in our daily life. Otherwise, how we will be continue, and how we will be a gentle, and how, because I would say, that everywhere all people are looking happiness, and but where is happiness? Well, we can know details from Uzi and Vita's daily shows. We know that they are really providing some good informations, of course. And if we will follow their thoughts, and I mean Buddhist thoughts, and really we can enjoy our life.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for reminding that as well. So people who want to subscribe to Right View Lab, please do that. And we have launched that Right View Lab as well. And again, Beta and Yuchi are doing that, like regularly online meditation, recitation kind of thing, and talking to people who need help. So kindly go through that and decide like if it's the right thing for you, and subscribe to that and watch regularly. That will help people like to live their life more happier and fruitful. And that is what I wanted to say. And this week turned out to be a very good, happy weekend kind of moment. And if Nate was there, like we would have really enjoyed it. But other than that, like
Right.
we will wrap up today's session. Thank you all. Please subscribe and like and comment the channel as well to promote message to everyone, right? So stop here at our channel, listen, and then share to your people if you like. Sharing is caring. So with that thought, bye for now.